I understand English but I can't speak well. Alex understood every word perfectly. Online articles, movies, and songs made complete sense. Yet, when it came to forming sentences, a frustrating silence enveloped him. His mind raced with brilliant ideas, but his tongue felt tied, unable to translate thoughts into audible speech. This gap between comprehension and expression was a constant source of quiet frustration, a barrier he desperately longed to dismantle completely. He yearned to connect with people from diverse backgrounds, to share his perspective, and to truly participate in conversations. Many opportunities, both personal and professional, felt out of reach because of this inability. The desire to articulate his thoughts clearly, without hesitation, became a powerful driving force for change, igniting a resolve to master spoken English, no matter the challenge. Alex began with dedicated vocabulary learning. He didn't just memorize isolated words, he focused on phrases and collocations, understanding how words work together naturally. Flashcards, spaced repetition apps, and creating small sentences for each new term became his daily ritual. This intentional practice helped build a solid foundation, expanding his mental dictionary beyond passive recognition into active recall. He utilized thematic word lists, concentrating on topics relevant to his interests and potential conversations. Learning synonyms and antonyms broadened his expressive range, allowing for more nuanced communication. He also paid close attention to pronunciation while learning new words, often repeating them aloud, even if softly, to start familiarizing his mouth with the sounds of English. Recognizing the crucial link between reading and speaking, Alex immersed himself in English books, articles, and blogs. He chose materials slightly above his comfort level, challenging himself to infer meaning and encounter new sentence structures. Reading helped him internalize grammar patterns and natural phrasing, building an intuitive sense of how sentences should flow correctly. He didn't just passively read, he actively engaged with the text. He highlighted new vocabulary, jotted down interesting expressions, and sometimes even read paragraphs aloud to practice his delivery. This active approach made reading a dynamic learning experience, reinforcing both comprehension and the foundational elements necessary for effective spoken communication, making it a powerful tool. Alex spent hours watching interviews, TED Talks, and vlogs, observing how native speakers articulated their thoughts. He paid attention to their intonation, rhythm, pauses, and even their body language. Mimicking their speech patterns, initially in private, helped him understand the flow of natural conversation, preparing him for real-life interactions and improving his listening skills. He discovered shadowing, repeating spoken sentences almost simultaneously with the speaker. This technique forced him to keep up with the pace and rhythm of native speech, greatly improving his pronunciation and fluency. It felt awkward at first, but with persistence, his tongue and mouth muscles started adapting, making the act of speaking feel more natural and less forced. Before attempting real conversations, Alex practiced having internal monologues in English. He described his surroundings, narrated his daily activities, and even debated imaginary scenarios, all within his mind. This mental exercise helped him organize his thoughts directly in English, reducing the need for mental translation and speeding up his processing time considerably. He then progressed to speaking aloud to himself. In the privacy of his room, he would talk about anything and everything. He recorded his voice, listening back to identify areas for improvement in pronunciation, grammar, or fluency. This self-correction became an invaluable part of his learning journey, boosting his confidence gradually. The next significant step was finding a speaking partner. He joined online language exchange platforms, seeking someone patient and encouraging. Initial conversations were halting, filled with pauses and mistakes, but the supportive environment helped him push past his anxiety, understanding that errors were a natural part of the learning process, not failures. Alex learned to embrace his mistakes. Instead of being discouraged, he viewed them as opportunities for growth. His speaking partners often corrected him gently, and he actively sought feedback, understanding that constructive criticism was essential for refinement. This mindset shift transformed his fear of error into a curious desire for improvement. He started by initiating small, low-pressure conversations. Ordering coffee, asking for directions, or making polite small talk with a shopkeeper. These brief interactions, though simple, were monumental victories, proving to himself that he could indeed use English in real-world scenarios, building momentum for more complex discussions later. Each successful interaction, no matter how brief, chipped away at his insecurity. He realized that most people were patient and appreciative of his effort. This positive reinforcement gradually built his confidence, making the idea of speaking less daunting and more achievable, transforming his perception of his own abilities over time. Practice is not just about making fewer mistakes, it's about developing muscle memory for your mouth and brain. The more you speak, the more natural the language feels, and the faster your brain can retrieve words and construct sentences. Consistent practice transforms passive knowledge into active, usable communication skills effortlessly. One of the biggest hurdles was the fear of judgment. Alex realized that people were often more interested in understanding his message than in scrutinizing his grammar. Focusing on conveying his meaning, rather than achieving perfection, liberated him from this paralyzing fear, allowing him to speak more freely and genuinely. He observed that people often speak English imperfectly, even native speakers make slips. They use filler words, pause, and sometimes reformulate sentences. This realization was incredibly liberating. It showed him that natural speech isn't about flawless grammar but about effective communication, giving him permission to be less critical of himself. Active listening became paramount. To respond effectively, one must first truly understand. He practiced listening not just for words, but for tone, intent, and context. This improved his comprehension significantly, enabling him to participate more meaningfully in conversations, demonstrating respect and engagement with others. As his confidence grew, Alex started engaging in more complex discussions. He participated in online forums, joined virtual book clubs, and sought out opportunities to discuss topics he was passionate about. This pushed him to articulate abstract ideas and defend his opinions, challenging his linguistic boundaries continually. Technology was a constant ally. Translation apps helped him quickly find forgotten words during conversations, while voice recorders allowed for self-assessment. Language learning apps provided structured lessons and interactive exercises, complementing his self-study and real-world practice, making learning accessible anywhere, anytime. Alex understood that learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. There were days of frustration and slow progress, but he never gave up. His persistence, coupled with a genuine love for the language, kept him going, reminding him that every small step forward was a victory in itself. He set small, achievable goals, like, speak for 5 minutes without major pauses, or, ask 3 questions in English today. Achieving these mini milestones provided continuous motivation and a sense of accomplishment, breaking down the overwhelming task of fluency into manageable, rewarding segments. While full immersion wasn't always possible, Alex created a mini-immersion environment. He changed his phone language to English, listened to English podcasts during commutes, and watched English movies without subtitles. This constant exposure normalized the language, making it feel less foreign and more intuitive over time. Beyond just speaking correctly, Alex learned to find his own voice in English. He started expressing his personality, his humor, and his unique way of seeing the world. This transformation from merely translating to genuinely communicating was a profound shift, making interactions truly authentic and enjoyable. The greatest reward was the ability to truly connect with people from different cultures. Conversations that once seemed impossible were now commonplace. He could share stories, laugh at jokes, and understand nuances that transcended mere words, realizing the profound power of language to bridge divides. Alex knew that language learning is an ongoing journey. There would always be new words, new expressions, and new challenges. But he now approached them with curiosity and excitement, rather than fear, embracing the continuous evolution of his linguistic abilities as a lifelong pursuit. He realized that while grammar rules are important, overthinking them can hinder fluency. The goal wasn't to parse every sentence grammatically in real time, but to develop an intuitive feel for what sounds right. This shift allowed for more spontaneous and fluid conversation, moving beyond rigid rules. Alex started integrating English into his hobbies. If he loved cooking, he watched English cooking shows. If he enjoyed gaming, he played games with English-speaking players. This made learning enjoyable and organic, connecting language acquisition directly to his passions, reinforcing vocabulary naturally. Learning how to ask effective questions was a game changer. It allowed him to keep conversations flowing, show genuine interest, and learn from others. Asking for clarification or repetition also helped him manage misunderstandings gracefully, making interactions smoother and more productive. He practiced telling simple stories about his day or past experiences. This skill, crucial for social interaction, required sequencing events and using descriptive language. Initially clunky, with practice, his narratives became clearer and more engaging, captivating listeners with his improving command of English. Exposure to various accents, through media and real conversations, was another learning curve. He realized that English is spoken globally with diverse pronunciations. This broadened his listening comprehension, making him more adaptable and comfortable when interacting with non-native speakers too. When he made a mistake, he didn't dwell on it. He learned to quickly correct himself or simply rephrase the sentence if clarity was lost. This quick recovery strategy prevented hesitation and allowed the conversation to flow naturally, minimizing the impact of minor errors. He actively sought out a supportive community, whether online or locally. Sharing struggles and successes with fellow learners created a sense of camaraderie and accountability. This network provided encouragement and valuable insights, making the learning journey less solitary and more enjoyable. For important conversations or meetings, Alex started preparing mentally. He'd anticipate potential questions and mentally rehearse his answers. This preparation reduced anxiety and allowed him to enter discussions with greater confidence, leading to more articulate and effective communication. His biggest transformation was internal. He shifted from viewing English speaking as a daunting performance to seeing it as a natural means of human connection. This mindset change empowered him to take more risks, knowing that the intent to communicate was more important than flawless delivery. Alex slowly started incorporating common slang and idioms, carefully at first. Understanding these natural expressions made his speech sound more authentic and helped him grasp nuances in native conversations, though he knew not to overdo it or use them incorrectly. He made a conscious effort to use English whenever possible. Thinking in English, writing shopping lists in English, or even humming English songs. This constant, low-stakes exposure reinforced his learning, integrating the language deeply into his everyday existence seamlessly. Every small victory was celebrated. Successfully ordering food without hesitation, understanding a complex movie dialogue, or making a new friend through English. These celebrations, no matter how minor, kept his motivation high and reinforced the progress he was making consistently. There were days when frustration loomed large. Words wouldn't come, or he'd feel stuck. On these days, he learned to take a break, do something enjoyable, and return to English refreshed. This self-care was vital for long-term perseverance, preventing burnout effectively. Early on, his focus was on getting the words out, even if imperfectly. Accuracy could be refined later. This emphasis on fluency helped him overcome the speaking block, allowing him to build momentum and natural rhythm before perfecting every grammatical detail. He realized that while grammar rules are important, overthinking them can hinder fluency. The goal wasn't to parse every sentence grammatically in real time, but to develop an intuitive feel for what sounds right. This shift allowed for more spontaneous and fluid conversation, moving beyond rigid rules. Learning to understand and even use humor in English was a significant step. Humor is deeply cultural, and being able to share a laugh or understand a joke made him feel truly connected to native speakers, breaking down barriers and fostering genuine relationships. While initial focus was on getting words out, he later dedicated time to refining his pronunciation. He used online resources, listened to minimal pairs, and practiced challenging sounds. Clear pronunciation greatly enhanced his intelligibility and boosted his speaking confidence. He even sought out low-stakes public speaking opportunities, like presenting a short summary in a language exchange group. This pushed him far beyond his comfort zone but dramatically improved his ability to organize thoughts and speak coherently under pressure. Regular review of learned material, especially new vocabulary and grammatical structures, was essential. This reinforcement prevented forgetting and solidified his knowledge, ensuring that what he learned stuck, forming a stronger foundation for further progress. Alex ensured his English input was diverse: news, podcasts, documentaries, fiction, non-fiction. This variety exposed him to different registers, vocabulary, and accents, making him a more well-rounded and versatile English speaker and listener across various contexts. He practiced speaking in different contexts: formal, informal, academic, casual. This adaptability allowed him to switch between communication styles, making him a more versatile and effective communicator regardless of the situation or audience he encountered. Alex occasionally looked back at his journey, comparing his current speaking ability to where he started. This reflection was incredibly motivating, highlighting the significant progress he had made and reaffirming that his consistent effort was yielding tangible results. As he improved, he started helping newer learners, sharing his strategies and offering encouragement. This act of giving back reinforced his own knowledge and solidified his understanding, proving that the best way to learn is often to teach someone else. The initial inability to speak was a heavy burden. Now, the freedom to express himself fully in English was exhilarating. He felt truly liberated, able to engage with the world in ways he once only dreamed of, a testament to his perseverance and dedication. Alex understood that learning English, especially speaking well, is a journey without a final destination. It's a continuous process of discovery and refinement. He embraced this ongoing adventure, finding joy in every new word learned and every new conversation experienced. He attributed his success primarily to consistency. Even on busy days, he would dedicate a few minutes to English practice, whether reading an article, listening to a podcast, or speaking a few sentences aloud. Small, consistent efforts compounded over time. There were moments of self-doubt, but he learned to reframe them. Instead of "I can't speak," it became "I'm still learning, and that's okay." This kinder internal dialogue fueled his continued efforts, transforming obstacles into opportunities for growth. His improved English opened doors to global connections. He made friends from different continents, discussed global issues, and gained new perspectives. English became a bridge, connecting him to a vast, diverse world, enriching his life immeasurably. He didn't just learn a language, he gained a part of a new identity. The confident English speaker was a new facet of Alex, one he was incredibly proud of. It was a transformation that transcended mere linguistic ability, embodying personal growth. Alex now often shared his journey, hoping to inspire others who felt stuck. He emphasized that consistency, embracing mistakes, and finding joy in the process were universal keys. His story became a beacon of hope for aspiring English speakers worldwide.